Hi Vinyl community, it's Phil. Greetings from British Columbia, Canada. I'm back for part 2 of my two-part video, my 50 favorite albums. I already did the second part going from 50 to 26, and now I'm going to go do 25 to 1. So I'm just going to preface this again by saying that I have limited these two videos to 3 albums by each artist tops maximum, just because I don't want to load the thing up with all Beatles and Zeppelin again, except this. But and also I've not included greatest hits, live albums, any compilation of any kind. And I didn't say this in the other video, but I've also limited this to sort of classic rock. I don't want to, if I was to try to include everything I like, jazz, blues, bit of country, folk, this just would be unmanageable to do. So this is just going to be classic rock on both parts of this video. I forgot to say that. So again, before we get into this, this is just my opinion. The order in this is more or less correct, but it could change depending on what I've been listening to and what mood I'm in. So don't throw stones, please. It's just this is just my opinion of what I like to listen to. Again, I'm not saying these are the best albums ever, the most artistic, the most meaningful albums, the most best-selling. You know, this is just my opinion, what I like to listen to. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit on this one and spend a little bit more time on each album. I sort of raced through the first video. I'm still not quite comfortable on camera. I'm sitting here looking at myself on the screen thinking, yeah, I'm no movie star. So we're just gonna go into this. We left off at 26, number 25, and God, I'm going to say this about almost every one of these albums. I wish I could put it higher, but I just can't have 25 number ones. So, and all of these albums really, I'm going to say, are pretty much masterpieces, again, in my opinion. Every one of these albums is just perfect. 25, AC/DC, Highway to Hell, the last album with Bon Scott, rest in peace, Bon. Great rocker from start to finish. I never got a chance to see AC/DC live with Bon Scott. I saw them 5 or 6 times afterward with Brian Johnson, and while they were fantastic, I kind of regret that I never had the chance to see Bon Scott. They didn't really become famous and big selling here in Canada, at least anyway, until this album came out, and all too quickly he was gone. And wow, then the next thing comes out is Back in Black, and they've already changed singers, and I never got a chance to see this guy live. All this stuff for a few videos here and there, but what a group, what an album, just goes non-stop, flat out rock and roll. It's great album. 24, again, an artist that I don't see get a lot of attention anywhere on the VC, and I never quite figured out why. One of my favorites, Joan Jett, and everyone's expecting me to put up I Love Rock and Roll. Well, that is a good album, but it's not my favorite. It's just a little bit too, I don't know, the word is rushed, I think, because the songs are not consistent on that one. The one I picked as my favorite, the one I like to listen to most, and I don't know how many people really know this one. A lot of people seem to stop following Joan Jett after what was it, the one that had I Hate Myself for Loving You on, but this came out after that, and this one's called Good Music. And this has hits of hers, This Means War, Roadrunner, Just Lust, You Got Me Floating, Contact. This is a fantastic album. The production on this album is just unbelievable. The engineering on this, the sound is just crystal clear. It's like you're sitting in the recording studio listening to this. You can hear every crash of the cymbal. There's no murkiness to this. There's no confusion as to what instruments you're hearing. You can hear them all, and it's just a real treat to listen to this album. I love Joan Jett. I love her voice. I love the arrangements on her songs. I wish she'd put out more, but I haven't heard anything new from her in a little while. Number 23. This is an absolute unqualified masterpiece. One of my favorite bands, Pink Floyd, Animals. Great album. This is, I need an upgrade copy on this. This one's a little chewed up. I got some wear along the edge there, at the top edge you can see, and it's got a lot of ring wear on it. I don't know I used to have a really good copy. I don't know what happened to it. Back in the 80s, I think I took it to a party and like a couple of albums and it disappeared. Somebody grabbed it and I had to pick up this one for a few bucks at a album fair, vinyl fair a few years ago. And I'm just dying to find a really good copy, not on new vinyl. I want to find an old original one. But fantastic album. You ever see WKRP in Cincinnati, the old TV show? This album was playing on one of them. It's everywhere, that album. And luckily, it never gets played on radio, so you're not sick and tired of hearing it. Like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 from The Wall. Just, I hear that again and I puke. It's just overplayed. This album doesn't seem to get played, at least on the stations we have here in town that I listen to. So that one still sounds fresh to me whenever I play it. Number 22, Canadian artist from the La Belle Province of Quebec. And the artist in particular, and this is his debut album, and he did 3 or 4 after this, I think, but this is really the cream of his career, in my opinion, again. But he played every instrument on this in the studio. Really a great talent. Aldo Nova, solo artist Aldo Nova. Fantastic album. It's just a great rocker. Fantasy was on this. That was the big hit. But every song on this album, listen to it from front to back. It's just a really great album. I love spinning that one every chance I get. I played that to death when it came out, and I still love it. It still sounds fresh because you never hear that on the radio. It just seems to have been bypassed by top 40 radio. And that's essentially what FM radio was turned into now. It's all they do a video on the sad state of radio and all the crap they keep playing over and over again. The other day, I heard on one station 3 times each song. I heard Crocodile Rock, Sweet Home Alabama, and Come Together by the Beatles. I never thought I could hate a Beatles song, but I hear that so often. It's a great song, but it's just overplayed. Come on, guys, they got 5,000 song catalog. Play something different. That's my rant. Sorry about that. Get back to my list. I forgot where I left off. Good thing I wrote it down, right? Where was I? Number 21. Another Canadian band, Eastern band from the Maritimes, Minglewood Band. You probably don't. I don't know if you know this down in the States or not. You almost certainly wouldn't know this in Europe, but I doubt in the States. They were not, at least where I come from, they were not big band. They were not heard on the radio. I was at a bush party one time when I was in my early 20s, and this is one of these ones where you go to a point in the forest and everyone backs their cars up around the campfire, and someone opens their trunk and blasts out tunes for a few hours, and it's just a great time. Oh, I wish I was in my 20s again. But I heard this album played by somebody, and we were listening to cassettes back then, and I thought, wow, who is this? I gotta get this. So I went out and bought it. It's a Minglewood Band, Out on a Limb. Really great sort of country blues infused rock and roll. Matt Minglewood, excellent guitarist, really underrated. Like, nobody ever hears of these guys. They're never played on the radio, at least out in this area anyway. I'd like to say which songs are hits on this, but I don't think there were any. But every song on here is great. If you ever get a chance to play this one and you don't know it, pick it up. They got over 15 albums, I think. But this one to me is the cream of the crop. It's just, again, the words may be overused, but in my opinion, it's a masterpiece. Number 20. So this is going to be my top 20, and again, this order is not set in stone, and not everybody's going to agree with it, but this is what I like to listen to, and some of it's, whatever, you'll decide for yourself. Number 20. Again, an artist that sort of gets about a joke sometimes. He was a little cheesy in the late 70s, early 80s. He got involved in disco for an album. That was just a bad mistake. But old rock and roll, Rod Stewart, Footloose and Fancy Free. In my opinion, fantastic. Just a great album. Hot Legs, You're Insane. The little ballad, You're in My Heart. and then they end up side one with our big rocker called Born Loose. It's about 6-7 minutes long. Fantastic guitar solo, awesome drumming in this song. Side two is a few more ballads. You Keep Me Hanging On, and finish off on side number two with I Was Only Joking. Again, another fantastic song with sort of tempo builds up in it. Great guitar solo in I Was Only Joking. If you ever heard the single version, it's nowhere near as good as this. It cuts out the solo. I love Rod Stewart. That's a great album. Number 19, I Can't Show You. I've loaned it out to a friend. He wanted to record it onto his, from a USB, I think it's a USB turntable onto his computer, is The Doors' first album, The Doors. And I wish I had that to show you, but everybody knows the cover with all the guys of the group on the front. And what was that? I had the Break On Through to the Other Side and Light My Fire in the end. Just awesome debut album. And in my opinion, the only thing to top that in their catalog was maybe LA Woman. But great albums, all of them, but I love the Doors' debut album. And yeah, sorry, I wish I had it to show you, but a good buddy of mine bore it again, sub on the computer. So we're going to get down to number 18, and you don't even need to know, I don't have to say anything about this. This is my copy of Sticky Fingers by the Stones. It was absolutely mint. The zipper works. Just awesome album. My favorite Stone song is on here, Brown Sugar. It's just great rock and roll album by the best rock and roll band on the planet, they say, and I have no reason to argue with that. Just great. I've never seen the Stones live, unfortunately. Every time they come here, they sell out so quick. If they come to our 60,000 seat arena and you can't buy a ticket within 3 hours of the damn thing going on sale. I really wish they'd go to the old days where you had to go line up at the ticket office at some department store and wait your turn and buy 4 at a time maximum, rather than these guys going on and computers and internet and scooping up all the tickets as soon as they come on sale. Really a sore point with me, because there's so many shows I want to see and I can't get to because they're just priced out of reach. Some of these artists, I'm not saying the Stones, but some of the artists that go out nowadays on the road are just out of touch with their ticket prices. Number 17, and I touched on this one in my 30 favorite rock group video the other day. I borrowed this one from the library when I was 13 or 14, I want to say, and didn't know anything about the group. I had heard one song on the radio. I thought, wow, these guys sound interesting. I was really just getting into music and had a small collection of albums that I was buying, but I didn't really know these guys. And I thought, well, this looks really interesting. I'm going to pick this up and try it from the library. I did, and I played it to death. Like I said, my parents went out and bought me headphones so I could plug it into my little stereo I had, so they wouldn't have to hear me play it over and over and over again. I just loved this album. Dropped the needle on it, side one, and by the end of the first song, I was hooked. I was done. I was a fan of this band. This was going to be my band, and they still are today. And that is Queen, A Day at the Races. Just somewhere in here in your sleeve, there's a review from a reporter, and he says, sheer bloody poetry, and it absolutely is. My opinion, another masterpiece. Sorry, I'm going to use that word a lot here. Number 6. Did we get to 16? This is 16. This is number 16. Another album that probably doesn't really need an introduction. I don't think any of these will, but Canadian power trio Rush, Moving Pictures, Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight, just excellent album. I mean, if they had a masterpiece, this is it in my opinion, with one more to come. I'll give you a spoiler alert there. They had a couple of masterpieces. That is one. I just love that album. I could play that over and over and not get tired of it. Now everybody's asking me, you said 3 of each group, the maximum, and I haven't seen many Beatles yet. I've seen 1. Well, here we go into number 15, and again, I wish I could have rated this higher, but it's just, I don't know, this is really difficult to rate. If I was to play this again right now, I'd probably move it up a dozen spots, But for right now, it's going to come in at number 15, Sgt. Pepper. Yeah, what can you say about this album? It's just, it's perfect, right? It's just perfect. Number 14, you know what, I'm going to say all the albums from there are masterpieces and perfect, again, in my opinion. You might not all agree about some of them, but again, this is my taste. So just take it with a grain of salt, please. Number 14, the mighty Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Again, this is my original first pressing. It's got the little postcards inside the poster that came with it, and everything is in. The album jacket has a little bit of wear, a little modeling on the cover, but it's almost in mint condition. The vinyl is spotless on this. I really take care of my vinyl. I clean it before I play it. I clean it after I play it, and dust-proof jackets. Everything vinyl sleeves, and except for my friend that I loaned the Doors album to, nobody touches my albums. Nobody. He can touch them, and my older brother can touch them, because they know how to handle albums. Everybody else paws off. I don't loan albums out willy-nilly, and I don't take them to parties anymore unless I'm there, and I handle them only myself. The other thing, I used to be a DJ part-time. In my spare time, I used to go on weekends and do parties. I have 2 Stanton turntables, a little mixing board that's my system. I was going to get that hooked up again tomorrow after the painting job that went through here, because I haven't listened to vinyl for a little while, and just itching to get all these albums caught up that I have purchased in the last few months. And I live in a townhouse complex, and we have parties 3-4 times a year sometimes, just for the hell of it. Usually Halloween, and then we do a vinyl party in the summer if we can get enough people interested in going. We'll all just hold the stereo over. I'll pick randomly 100 albums and some 45s, and I'll just take them over and we'll just play and just dance and a potluck dinner and that sort of thing. And that's great fun. And so that's the way I treat my albums. They're just, if I bought it new, that's in new condition right now. Number 13. And sadly, this is the only one, pardon me, I told you my throat was a bit sore earlier on in the other video. Number 13, when I heard this album, I already had a couple by this artist, and then I heard this one, I was just blown away, and I thought, wow, this is what the guy can do when he really, really tries, and just lets it all hang out. Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes, absolutely perfect. And what I love about this is all the little banter in between a couple of the songs. The little lady in the background in the studio going, it's just the normal noises in here. Sort of lends an air of live feel to it. And so, these artists are actually in there together in a group and talking with people while they record this, and the banter that goes on between mixes and songs and all that. But Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, Even the Losers, just not a sour note on here. It's just a perfect masterpiece. Now we're going to get into my top 12, and not everyone's going to agree with some of these. I'll tell you right now, not everyone's going to agree with some of these, and whatever, that's the way it is. Number 12. If you forget the fact that this has been played to death on the radio, just absolutely played to death, a couple of the songs on here. If you stand back and look at it, it is still a fantastic album. Every song on here tells a story. It's a theme album. It's just absolutely their masterpiece. And the fact that it's been played to death is a testament to that it is a great album. Talking the Eagles, Hotel California, groan, everybody goes, I don't ever want to hear that song again. But I love the song. Yeah, it's overplayed, and I don't play this album very much because it is overplayed. But it's still a great album. And if you look over the list of songs on here, it's still iconic. It's still fantastic. It's still a great album. Number 11. Almost down to top 10. Number 11 is, and for as successful as this guy is, And for as popular as he is, and sold out shows, marathon shows, I never see anyone really review him or heap praise on him or any kind of praise, and I don't get that. But this is an album that came out in again, I want to say 80, 81, something like that, 1980. And at the time, I was vacationing up in it's a little town in the interior called Oliver, and me and my friends were cruising around in the summertime from town to town, up and down the valley there. And this was one of the big albums out that year, and I just loved it. I just love this album. There wasn't a bad song on the album. It's a double album, which is unusual because double albums almost always have some filler, it seems. This one, to me, was a perfect double album, and that's Bruce Springsteen, The River. God-awful cover. I mean, come on, Bruce. The thing's titled The River. You couldn't take a picture of a river and put it on there or something? God-awful cover. Ugh. But fantastic album. Just fantastic. And you know, if you take aside the songs, The River and Cadillac Ranch was a single, and what else? What was the single off of this one? Hungry Heart. That's the one I'm thinking of. And everyone thinks, oh, that's the whole album. Well, no, there was a ton of good songs on this album. I just love that one. Sentimental favorite of mine. That's sort of the album of my youth. I guess I want to call it album of coming of age. So now we're into the top 10. And again, even though I can't do 1A and 1B and 1C and 1D, right? I had to change from 10 to 1. So as I said, the order of this could change depending on what I listen to. If I were to put one of these on, I'd probably go, oh yeah, wow, that's fantastic. I should put this ahead of the other one. So this is the way I picked it right now. In my opinion. Another double album. Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. Just an awesome double album. No filler on this. No weak songs. And for a double album to say that, that's just high praise indeed. Because, again, double albums usually have some sort of filler on them. This one does not. Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. Awesome album. Number nine. Sorry. Number 9. Slow Hand, Eric Clapton. I bought this. This is again my original pressing I bought. I remember the day I went and bought this. And I had heard Cocaine. No, I had heard Lay Down Sally on the radio. I thought, wow, Eric Clapton, this sounds interesting. It was the first Clapton album I bought. And I was just, again, blown away. Fantastic. And the song that sticks out to me the most on this, besides Cocaine, my favorite song on this is The Core. Big, long, drawn-out song, sax solo, guitars, great backbeat of the guitar on this, great drumming on this, fantastic album. Nice gatefold. Just, I don't think he'll ever top that album. I'm sorry, Eric, I just don't think you're gonna top that album. Number 8. Again, another, I mentioned Rush earlier. This is my favorite. There's this one. I just couldn't believe this album when I first played it. And I only bought it because I knew Rush. I hadn't heard this album yet. I bought it because of the cover. And, oh, Rush has a new album. I'm going to buy it. And that's Hemispheres. Yeah, they played this whole album live on one tour that I saw when this album came out. They came to town, and I've seen Rush 3 or 4 times. Just a fantastic live band. Neil Peart, arguably the best drummer ever. Again, I never saw John Bonham, I never saw Keith Moon play live. Of all the bands I have seen or heard, Neil Peart, best drummer I've ever heard. Again, my opinion. Rush, Hemispheres. If you don't know, not a lot of people like Geddy Lee's voice, the singer-bassist. But I like it. Yeah, he gets a bit shrieky at times, but I love his voice. I wouldn't want to listen to him ad nauseum, but I wouldn't want to do a marathon of Rush albums. But if you listen to it an album at a time, it's just awesome music. Just awesome music. Number 7, we're getting close to number 1. Number 7, another Canadian artist that I'm sure is well known in the States. I think so. I don't really know. Um, yeah, I really don't know. But this one was written by this particular artist. He did a tour with the Canadian branch of Oxfam, and he went down to Nicaragua, and then he went to see what life was like down there, and then he went to a Guatemalan refugee camp in Mexico, and the images he came away with, he put down in words, and turned this into just an absolute masterpiece of an album. Bruce Cockburn, Stealing Fire. It's not pronounced Cockburn, it's pronounced Coburn. Um, yeah, Lovers in a Dangerous Time was a hit. Sahara Gold is just an awesome sort of guitar ballad. Making Contact is a great song. Of course, it's had the hit If I Had a Rocket Launcher. It's not the best song on the album. It's a great song, but it's not the best one in my opinion. The song Nicaragua that precedes that is just this whole album is a story about people in trouble in a country that's oppressed. And if you listen to the words, he's a master poet, very politically motivated. Every album of his is sort of a political statement or anti-political statement sometimes, but just a great artist, and that's Bruce Cockburn, Stealing Fire, a great album. Okay, number 6. And I don't like this group. I bought their greatest hits. I didn't like it. I had a couple of albums of theirs, and a buddy of mine said, "You'll love these, you'll love these, you'll love these. You have to try it." I tried it. I did not like this group. And then this album came out. And Roxy Music, Avalon. And again, I fell in love with this album. I can't stand the group. I will not buy another one of their albums, but I love this album. I mean, I love that picture on the cover. It's very reminiscent of Wishbone Ash, a British band. They had an album back in the 70s called Argus. Very similar cover. I think this is sort of a take on that, but very haunting cover in my opinion. But the album is great. It's not hard rock at all, and everyone knows Roxy Music. It's really light bluesy sort of rock. But it's just a great album. If you haven't heard this one, if you not a fan of Roxy Music, if you listen to this one, you'll be a fan of this album at least. I am. Top 5. Yeah, and all of these albums are now big sellers. It is what it is, right? I'm gonna move these. No, I'm not, because you're gonna see them ahead of time. This one came out in 1980. Again, I think, boy, that was a good year for music, in my opinion, anyway. Everyone says there was bad music in the 80s, but, it wasn't all bad. Joan Jett, Bob Seger, there's tons of bands came out in the 80s that had great albums. It wasn't all this weird new wave stuff that, you either like or you don't like. There was a lot of great bands and a lot of good stuff in the 80s. This one was a humongous seller. It was this band's, I'll call it their masterpiece. Sold millions, I'm sure. Again, this is one of those ones we were driving around in the summertime, blaring it out. We all knew all the words. It was just a great fun listen. REO Speedwagon, High Infidelity. Another band I don't really see get a lot of reviews or a lot of love. I won't say they don't get hate, but they seem to get neglect. They don't seem to be talked about a lot. And this is just a great spin. I'll play that one any time of day. It doesn't matter to me. I love that album. Number 4. And, from here on in, I'm going to say that every once in a while, all the planets align and the stars shine down on someone, and they are just graced with the perfect album. And just the stars align for this group. All of these albums, and it's just unbelievable. The Summer of '77, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Go Your Own Way is a little bit overplayed in my opinion on local radio, but every song on this album is just fantastic. You hide the name and everyone knows who you're talking about immediately. It's just, this album was everywhere in that summer. Just a great album. I mean, I don't know how you could poke a hole in this anywhere. Really, I just don't know. 1, 2, and 3. If you watch my video of my 30 favorite groups, I've got the same issue here with my top 2 or 3 favorite groups. I wrestled with this back and forth, and I changed them around and looked at it. I really had trouble finalizing the order of these. And that being said, the order is not finalized. But for right now, the way I feel right now, the day I did this list, which was last night, by the way, number 3, AC/DC Back in Black. First album after the death of Bon Scott, Brian Johnson, new singer. This came out like a year after Highway to Hell, I think. And we were all sort of stunned that, wow, they got back together already, and new singer, and they're already recording an album out. But what a killer album. You Shook Me All Night Long is way overplayed. Again, radio, they got a whole ton of songs. You could play something else. But just a great hard rock album. I played this to death. This is my original pressing copy. Just fantastic. Just hard rock icons. Everyone knows AC/DC. Just I've seen them live 5 or 6 times. I told the story in my 30 favorite group. Things about how me and a buddy lined up for tickets in the department store and sat front row right in front of the speakers and didn't hear a damn thing for 2 days, just buzzing in our ears. I'm amazed I'm not deaf. Number 1 and 2, again, perfect albums. And flip a coin. This is how I decided what's number 1 and number 2. Quite honestly, I really did. I just couldn't pick a favorite out of these two. They're both just 1 and 2. Both just fantastic, absolute masterpieces. And I'm sorry, but I have to put Abbey Road at number 2 right now. Just the perfect album. Iconic cover. Mine is not an original pressing. It was out long before I got into records, but this is a mint copy of a repress. But you can put this on. The whole side too is just fantastic. Again, it starts out with a Come Together, and I don't care if I ever hear Come Together again. If I put this on again, I'll still drop the needle at the opening track, but I may just leave the room for that one. It's just overplayed in my opinion. But the whole album is just fantastic. It's the perfect album. And now, with that being said, what's number 1? What could possibly top Abbey Road? Guesses? No? No guesses? Okay. And this is an album that you're either gonna love or not love. Some people say, oh, there's no singing on the album, there's no lyrics to the album. Well, yes, there is. Yes, there are. There are lyrics. Yes, there are lyrics to this album. I remember in high school people playing this thing. There's no lyrics to the album, it's all just music, and I don't understand it. I got it right away. This was my favorite album in high school. It was my favorite album in my late teens. It was my favorite album. It's my favorite album. Sorry, Abbey Road, you are number 2. Dark Side of the Moon. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I just love this album. It's an iconic cover. Mine's showing a little bit of wear. There's some ring wear on the album. You see a little bit of ring wear around the top here. Just iconic album art. I also have a reissue of this on new vinyl that I play. I just want to preserve this original copy as much as I can. It's not a first pressing, but it's the original copy I bought when I bought it new in the store on old vinyl. Excuse me. And this still has all the posters in it that came with it. Untacked to the wall. I don't tack album posters to the wall, so I still got both posters that came with it, all in mint condition. Just the album that you can just play, sit back and close your eyes and get lost in it. And what can you say about this album? It's perfect. And it's got my favorite song of theirs on this, Great Gig in the Sky. Not everybody's first choice, but just Claire Troy just going in there and just howling to the music on this. Just sends chills up and down my spine when I hear her sing that, or I see her sing, and no words. She sings just singing, just notes. Oh, I love that album. I never get tired of it. I'll never get tired of Abbey Road or Back in Black. I'll never get tired of any of these albums. A couple of the songs, again, get overplayed, but that's radio for you, right? They play what people want to hear, I suppose. So that's my top 50. That's my top 25 to 1, if you didn't see the other part of this video, the first part. I'd love opinions on this. I mean, I know I disagree, or people will disagree with me. Hopefully not too much, but that's my opinion right now. And again, like I said, I could listen to a couple of these albums and probably alter the order of this somewhat. And again, there's a lot of albums I wanted to put in here, but again, this was not a Beatles fest or a Zeppelin fest or a Floyd fest. This was 50 albums that I love to listen to. So everyone has different tastes, right? So you saw some BTO, some Canadian stuff in here that you might not have heard. But that's the beauty of music. We all interpret it differently. We all have regional bands that maybe don't make it big south of the border or north of the border, or maybe they don't get out of your area. I'm sure if I went down to the States, I'd hear a lot of bands down there that I don't hear up here. Well, for whatever reason, the stars don't align for them. They don't make it elsewhere. Again, my third favorite band, Status Quo, monsters in England, monsters in Europe. Didn't cut it over here. People just didn't get it for whatever reason. Wishbone Ash, another group like that. They do tour here. I actually saw them a while back. But they tour small arenas and things like that. They're doing an outdoor festival down in Bellingham, Washington State, just south of the 49th parallel from here in the States. And in August, and me and a buddy going to go see that. 13, 14 groups over the course of a couple of days. We're hoping to get parking there, because that's going to be awesome. Great dual guitar group. And again, keep in mind that I kept this list to classic rock. I did not want to put in jazz or country or folk or blues. I just wanted to keep this to rock, because otherwise the list is just going to be unmanageable to do. So I could do shout outs to albums that just didn't quite make the cut of this top 50, but it would be, I'd start at A and I'd be talking an hour later about all of the albums that didn't quite make it, because really, like I said, the bottom 25, I could swap all of those albums for 25 more and do it again and again. Again, I got 1,600 albums, and I forgot to mention that one criteria for this list was I had to have the album. I'm not going to list albums here that I don't have, because it's just not fair. I've got to have it. And I got to have it on vinyl. Again, I didn't show the Doors hit, the Doors' first album, but again, I have it, but a buddy of mine has it borrowed. So that's that. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. I think I'm done here. I think I've talked too long. And again, not even my wife likes to listen to me this long. So I'll say good night, and I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your comments down below, and thank you very much. See you next time.